Yeah, not too sure how to sum that up really. Arsenal losing 2-1 away from home against Dynamo Zagreb. Never ceasing to find new ways of amazing me. Obviously, it's a disappointing result, to say the very least, to say the very least. Away from home against a team that we should have comfortably beaten. Can't help but feel that this is same old, season upon season from Arsenal. It's what we come to expect. And we shouldn't do, we really shouldn't do. It's been a disappointing transfer window, epitomised by a disappointing start to the season, evidenced why we needed to invest in the summer, and it's just all come out today, absolutely all come out. First of all, Arteta starting the game, given the hook halfway through from Wenger, showing that he has a lack of faith in his backup central defensive midfield option. So why didn't we go out there and buy someone like Vidal, someone like Schneiderlin, someone like Bender, someone like Wanyama, someone like Kondogbia? Why didn't we do that during the summer? The options were there, yet we're playing Arteta, who we've given the hook halfway through the game. It's ridiculous how we haven't invested in the window. Then you've got Giroud, who goes and gets a red card, leaving us with one striking option for the game against Olympiacos. One, Theo Walcott, who's not even an out-and-out striker. Walcott should have started the game today. There are a whole array of changes made within this Arsenal team, and let's look at that from top to bottom, shall we? First of all, David Ospina starting in goal. Needless, absolutely needless. I'm not saying Ospina did a bad job today by any means, but it's little things like this that show our disrespect to teams like Dynamo Zagreb. Zagreb are in the Champions League group stage for a reason, and why can't we play our first choice goalkeeper in a game like this? A leader on the pitch, someone to be vocal. I don't understand that move whatsoever. Cech should have started this game, and it's barbaric that he didn't play. The fullbacks, Debuchy and Gibbs come in. Admittedly, I did say in the preview for this game, I wanted to see players like this come in. Debuchy, I thought, was woeful for a majority of the game, was responsible for the first goal that we conceded, was good in the final stages of the match, but it's not that matters. We were down to 10 men at that point, and we're making a stride to get a point out of the match. It's really disappointing from Debuchy in this game. I do understand he does need a string of games, a run of games, so can't hold him too responsible, but overall for a player of his experience, his quality, his age, I expected more from him. Kieran Gibbs, a player that also was responsible for the second goal that we conceded, ducking out of the challenge. However, I think there are some positives to take from Gibbs' game. He was the only player when we were 1-0 down looking to make things happen, looking to go forward. A lot of other players weren't doing that. You know, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He did a decent job for Arsenal tonight, but ducking out of a challenge, bottling it, quite frankly, for the second goal, inexcusable from Kieran Gibbs. And it just shows how important Bellerin, Coquelin and Monreal are to this Arsenal team. Mikel Arteta starting in central defensive midfield. I couldn't get my head around this one either. I don't understand why we're going into a big Champions League game, our opening Champions League game, where you have to make a statement, and we're not playing Francis Coquelin. Doesn't make any sense to me. Santi Cazorla playing alongside someone in the midfield that he's not too familiar with in that pivot role, should I say. I mean, Arteta and Cazorla have played together frequently, but not in that kind of position. It's very different. You're throwing together a lot of players that haven't had experience in game time playing with one another. It's a real odd one. Then on the flanks you had Chamberlain and Alexis. I thought that would have worked. Ozil in behind, and Giroud up top. That front four should have been enough to see off Zagreb. Unfortunately it wasn't. We were lackadaisical going forward. We were slow, lethargic. There was no momentum. There was no pace in the team, which, you know, we were playing with two out-and-out wingers, two very pacey wingers at that, and there's no pace within the team. Couldn't get my head around it. The passing was diabolical tonight. You've got Cazorla in there, you've got Ozil in there. Ozil's passing was shocking tonight, so poor. The same goes for Cazorla though, the same goes for Arteta. Arteta, quite frankly, is not a backup defensive midfield option. I don't want to see him playing for Arsenal too much more this season. I mean, Arteta is a decent player when you're playing possession football at home against someone like Dagenham Redbridge, but we're not. We're away from home in a Champions League match, and Arteta is not up to the required standard that we need at Arsenal Football Club, and I'll relate it back to the transfer window. Why didn't we sign anyone? So, I mean, that's pretty much my take on Arsenal's starting lineup in this game. And like I say, I didn't know a lot about Zagreb in this match, but they deserved the point. They deserved the points in this game. They outshone us in every respect. They played some really good football, defended resiliently, did something that we failed to do. They saw the game out, played some very good football, looked like a very robust unit, and it's going to be a difficult game playing them at home. They could potentially finish above us in this Champions League group if we don't play our cards right, if we don't get our act together. We've got 2 games away from home against Olympiacos, and we've got to play Bayern Munich twice. This is not going to be easy. This isn't going to be a walk in the park. Second place is not a guarantee to us in this group stage. We've made it so much more difficult for ourselves by losing this game tonight. A game that, hands down, was the one that we had to win if we were going to rival Bayern for a top spot, which is completely out of the question now. But like I said, not getting too off topic, getting into the game itself, Started off okay from Arsenal. It was okay. There was nothing exciting about it, nothing too special. And I'll relate it back to the mentality issue that we've got, the underestimation of teams like Zagreb, and it was just complacency. Yeah, again, playing it around, thinking, you know, we're the Arsenal, we're better than Zagreb, we're going to win this game 2 or 3-0. Let's not be too pacey. Let's not push the issue too much. But it bites you in the back because we conceded from one swift counter-attacking move from Zagreb. Admittedly, they hadn't done a lot throughout the course of the game, but they defended when they had to. We created very little. The only real chance that I can think of is the Giroud one that was tipped over the bar by the goalkeeper. An excellent save on his behalf. But we go 1-0 down. Appalling goal to concede. Debuchy way out of position, who's just drifted in. Chamberlain also guilty for not tracking back. This guy is completely left on his own. Can't even remember the bloke's name, but he slots it. He doesn't slot it. It comes off Ospina. It's a decent save by Ospina, but he parries it right into the path of Chamberlain, and it's 1-0 in the back of the net. It was hard. It was harsh on us in a way, but then again, it kind of serves us right for not converting chances that we had throughout the course of the match. We were dominating possession, we were playing some fluid football, but not putting the ball in the back of the net. Again, I can't think of anything real clear-cut apart from that Giroud chance that Arsenal created during the course of the match. Massively frustrating on our behalf. And then to top it all off, not after going 1-0 down, just to rub salt into the wounds, Olivier Giroud, after picking up his first yellow card, goes on to pick up a second. Both of the cards are questionable. The first one, I can't quite remember what happened. Well, I say I can't quite remember. I can't quite envisage what happened. It looked like he had a bit of a hissy fit at the ref. Said something, was put in the book. That's just unprofessional. Shouldn't really have been doing that. He should have known better. Silly yellow card to pick up. The second one, if it was in the Premier League, 9 times out of 10, that's not given. It's harsh. But you've got to watch your backing games like this. When you're on a yellow card already, you can't afford to be doing that. The referees will use any excuse to give a player a yellow card in the Champions League. Giroud, was at the unfortunate end of it today, the wrong end of the stick, and he gets a red card. And at that point, at 1-0 down, we're kind of playing for the draw. We go into half time, 1-0 down, and at that point, at 8:30 in the evening, I wasn't expecting to be sat at home thinking, I really hope we get a point out of this match. That's not how I anticipated this going. And then the second half, we actually played good football, which came to my surprise. Mesut Ozil had a good 10-minute cameo spell throughout the course of the match where he actually played some good stuff, was involved in our movement going forward. Chamberlain was making some good runs going forward, but for the best part of the game was non-existent. Alexis didn't look up to his best today, but I mean, he was the player striving, trying to get things going, the only player that really does work hard for the team. But I mean, we looked better without Giroud on the pitch, which was a bit of an odd one. The substitutions came a bit too late, in my opinion. They came after we went 2-0 down, which we left the subs way too late, especially when we're 10 men down. Things had to change. It looked like we started with Sanchez up top, and we moved Gibbs to a kind of left winger position. But also tracking back at the same time, and then of course we had Chamberlain on the right hand side. That's what I seem to gather we started in that second half, given that we were down to 10 men. But like I say, I thought we started pretty well for a team that had 10 men, but totally against the run of play. We go 2-0 down. What an awful goal to concede. Like, words can't describe how disappointing, how shockingly bad our defending was for this. Kieran Gibbs ducks out of the challenge. Koscielny can't get to the ball, and it's just a case of who wants to win the ball more. Fernandez got to it and places it in the back of the net. A good goal for him. 2-0 down. We're down to 10 men, and it's game over. I know we got a goal back, but at that point, at that stage in the game, even if it is against Dynamo Zagreb, 2-0 down, away from home, with a man less, it's game over. It really is game over, and it leaves you watching that second half with no real hope, no real desire, no real anticipation that Arsenal were going to create anything. We brought on Theo Walcott, we brought on Francis Coquelin, like I say, showing a lack of faith in Mikel Arteta. Coquelin should have started this game. Walcott 110% should have started this game on the right hand side or through the middle. Anyway, he should have started this game, not for his personal confidence, but because it would have benefited the team dramatically. Chamberlain was poor today. Walcott certainly deserved a start in the team. He's probably being rested for Chelsea, but I mean, he needs consistency. He needs game time. He's on confidence now. He echoed that through the goal that he got, an excellent goal that he scored, by the way. Alexis Sanchez playing him through, and Walcott tucks it into the right, which is the only positive I can take from this game. It was a lovely goal by Walcott. I hope that gives him some consistency, some self-belief. That's 2 goals in 2 for him now, and I hope that he can bring that into that game against Chelsea, which I don't want to talk about that, but hopefully he'll bring that into that game and we can get something against Chelsea. I mean, that if we beat Chelsea tonight is kind of forgiven, but that's a real tough test considering they won 4-0 tonight. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up before it gets more depressing than it has to be. Leave your thoughts on the game in the comments box below. Make sure to subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV. Do do check out my own channel, AFC Game by Game. I'd really appreciate it if you did that. I've got content going up on there each and every day. And as always, I'll speak to you soon, guys. Hopefully we can bounce back against Chelsea.